It's a very hot day in Savannah. Savannah feels like the gates of hell has been opened. Hi. All right, so this is downtown Savannah in the evening. Some of the shops look kind of like vintage clothes, and there's a lot of people walking around actually. Seems like it's pretty bustling still. It's about 8 p.m. A bee store? Oh, that's cute. Let's go get some honey.
Thai restaurant right there.
Thai food!
The hotel's somewhere around here.
Flying Monk Noodle Bar.
Yeah, there's one right here.
A place that specializes in mojitos. Oh man, I might have to fall off the wagon.
Hello, this is Stephanie.
What's that say?
Char-grilled octopus. Somebody ordered food.
Char-grilled octopus. One more floor. Ooh, so tempted to like knock on the walls. Just to scare them.
No, we didn't do that.
It's a paranormal experience. I heard a knock on my door at midnight. But when I looked out there, no one was there.
Yeah, we're just standing outside, ready to go.
We are leaving the Marshall House right now. You can kind of see the lights behind us. We're getting something called a pedicab, which is someone on a bicycle bicycling our privileged asses around to the other side of town. I almost feel bad about it.
Nah,
For only $10. On a scale of 1 to 10, how difficult is it to do this?
4? It's not as bad as you would think. I mean, obviously that depends on the height you have to back, but in our gear, so you're fairly well.
See, I can't ride bikes, so I could never do this.
Oh yeah, your knees are too messed up.
My knees, yep. Yeah, I have a knee condition. I can't ride bikes. But this would be a really good way to make money and get in shape too. You stay in shape doing this.
You do this every day?
Yeah, almost every day. I'm the manager and mechanic, so if I'm not out riding, I'm usually at the shop. My drivers like to break things in really strange ways.
What do you mean?
Constantly. I don't know. There's always something broken.
Man, that is a beautiful structure.
I know, that's like one of my 2 favorite buildings. The other one is the Scottish Great Temple.
Wow. When they brought the second townhome and connected it with this one, they found a skeleton in the walls.
See how it looks like a Resident Evil mansion a little bit?
Just this looks so freaky.
It's nice though, right?
Yeah, it's beautiful. I'd love to see someone play the piano. Play hot cross buns. Whoa, what's down there? What?
People's rooms.
Those are rooms down there?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, look at this clock. Wow, this is something. That's wild.
Resident Evil 1.
So this is where the second townhouse was probably. It's got some charm, that's for sure. 301. Ooh, it's sussy. What's with all this weird art? What the frick is that? That's out of nightmares right there. It's a nice room. Oh yeah, there's a fireplace, an actual fireplace in here. There's some damage on the windows. But who is trying to get out? Or get in? Bathroom is normal. Yeah. I don't know, it's kind of creepy in here. How old is this place? My grandma used to have this exact same lamp, I'm convinced. All right, well, seems like it kind of takes away from the rusticness when there's a flat screen TV on top of such an old piece of furniture. Oh, it's a desk. It smells old. Can you smell that?
It smells like wood.
It's real wood. It's locked. Ah! Just kidding. We shall see. So far, scariest thing is whatever the hell this is.
Whatever this is.
That's freaky looking. That is super creepy. Okay, well, Zach refuses to go downstairs with me, so I'm gonna do it myself again.
What do you expect to happen?
I'm trying to get to the bottom of it.
There's nothing to get to the bottom of.
I will let whoever watches this video decide if they heard it. You heard it too. You have no explanation for that.
Yeah, because I wasn't there.
But I recorded it.
It doesn't mean anything.
I'm not crazy. I heard it. I heard it, you heard it, Jeff heard it. I'm not crazy. Yeah, exactly.
Turtle. There's a turtle. There's a turtle in here.
It was. Hey, I just noticed that we're riding behind a hearse. Hey, come pick us up. Yeah, it's beautiful here at night too.
Yeah, Savannah's a gorgeous town. I mean, there's not many places in Georgia like it, that's for sure.
It wasn't the soup version of it that I got. It was some I could myself got. It was so good. See, they have hourly tours that come by and talk about the Foley House. So it feels kind of cool to be someone staying in this historic building. It was the first bed and breakfast. In fact, we went on one of those tours.
So a lot of hotels do kind of lean into it, but anything that's affiliated with the Georgia government is not haunted and has never heard of a ghost there.
Right.
Very interesting.
Officially.
This is that Clary's place.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, this is like over 100 years old, isn't it? Or something,
Yeah,
something
well,
like that.
1903. Clary's is greasy food. I tell people all the time that it used to be like the hangover cure place. So the reason I stopped here is because Clary's has always had a little bit of a poltergeist issue. They're trickster spirits. They're here to make your life more difficult, not more deadly. And the owners didn't care about the poltergeist for quite some time, largely because it only messed with waitstaff, so it didn't affect them, okay? Waitstaff would do things like they could get their aprons ready for a busy service, have their pad, all their pens and pencils that they could need, walk up to their first table, reach down to their apron, no pens and pencils. Or they do their side work, start gathering all the salt and pepper shakers of all the tables so they can refill them real fast at the end of the service. Start refilling them, and then they get distracted by a co-worker in the kitchen, somebody calling to them, or some sort of noise that distracts them. They turn around for like 2 seconds, come back to their table, everything's back on the original table, and they have to start all over again, gathering them back up. They put in a fancy new security system. See that little plastic thing at the corner? So that is a motion detector. It works off of light sensitivity. Basically, every time something walks in front of a light source, it sees it as motion, sets off the alarm.
Ooh, cool.
And so they would set the alarm every night, turn off all the lights, lock up, go home, and then lights would flicker all night long. And every time that thing flickered, that thing saw it as motion, set off the alarm. The cops come out, they look around, nobody's inside the place, doors are locked, it's fine. They call up the alarm company, say it's a fluke, don't worry about it. But then it happened again and again, until it started happening multiple times in the night, until there's one cop that came out here 6 different times, and he was real annoyed by that 6th time. So he figured out that if you leave the lights on at Clary's, it doesn't happen anymore. So he called up the owners who live up in Tennessee and said, you tell them to leave the lights on at Clary's. Honestly, the only time you will see Clary's lights off is if the power is out on the block. The cooks will tell you straight up and down that there's a lot of weird stuff that happens in the kitchen. They just kind of chalk it up to it being a weird kitchen. So Savannah does have a lot of dead people. However, there are certain spaces that don't have any dead people. And we know that because we have extensive survey data where dead people are supposed to be. Because you don't want things like water lines through cemeteries. That's not a good idea, okay? So this space was marked as no bodies, no dead bodies at all. And they found this skull. However, what happens if you guys find something? Let's say that you decide you want to move down to Savannah because it is just so beautiful, and you buy a little condo in downtown Savannah, Georgia, and you start knocking down walls because you want an open floor plan for airflow, and out of one of these walls pops a skeleton. Oh no, what do you do? Now this comes with 2 steps.
Move.
That is an option, but you're kind of stuck in there. If you buy something in Savannah, Georgia, you're there for a while. I will tell you the 2 steps that you take legally, okay? Option 1, you have to call the local law enforcement. That is so they can come out, look at that skeleton, and establish for everyone you did not create it. That's a very important step, okay? You don't want to be a murderer. You want it on record that you are not a murderer. Now, step 2 only sometimes happens, and it only sometimes happens because sometimes the officer will come over, they look at your skeleton, they go, that's real old, kind of not our problem, good luck, and now you have a skeleton inside your house, and what you do with that is step 2. Option 1. You can take your new best friend, you buy them gravesite, headstone, whole 9 yards. That is a lovely thing to do for a stranger. However, in a city like Savannah, Georgia, where our space is somewhat limited, that does come at quite a premium. Last time I checked in with somebody about how much that was going to run me, they told me about $10,000. If you got it like that, by all means, do it. I don't, so I move on to option 2. Option 2, take your new best friend. You put them back in the hole they came out of. You cover up that hole and you say, I'm sorry, as you walk past. That's a good option. Because they get to rest exactly as they are, get to move on with life, and it costs you a trip to Home Depot. It's great. It's cost effective. However, there is a third option. You take your new best friend and you toss them out with morning trash.
Ooh, what?
City of Savannah will come by and pick that up for you. However, here's the thing.
Wow.
I believe in vengeful spirits. And I think an A+ way of getting a vengeful spirit is throwing out somebody's remains.
Yeah.
Because I know if somebody threw out my remains, I would be mad at them. And I'd come back and I'd haunt them super hard. They'd never get rid of me. But I'm also mean and bitter.
What's your opinion on someone burning it? They'd have to like grind it.
About $3,000, which is
Cheaper than 10.
so that's the way you're gonna go. I mean, city has to deal with history and
Lot of
bureaucracy,
stuff.
so they have an extra step. Okay.
Right.
So they had to call it the Georgia Historical Society, which luckily is like 4 blocks down that way. They came out here and they said we got to scan, and so they scanned underneath the square and a block in every direction, and they found this square in most of the blocks, like hundreds of skeletons we didn't know about, which is a much bigger problem than one. So they had to figure out who we had here. They went through archival data, a bunch of newspapers, and they found until they found in the early 1800s a single newspaper with a single map that told us who was here. Turns out we're sitting and standing almost in the center of the largest undisturbed enslaved people's burial ground in the entire United States, and we did not know we had it until 2004.
Right here?
Yep, right here.
Huh.
And like first thing they did is they decided they wanted to change the name of this square. It used to be Calhoun. Calhoun was a very pro-slavery vice president. Not a good look for the square. Okay, so they changed it to Taylor fairly recently. It was like a voting thing. Fairly recently it became Taylor Square. It is the only square named after a lady. Taylor was a lady who was integral in the restoration of Savannah, Georgia. So yay. And the second thing that's about to happen is they're going to put up one of those big bronze historical markers to let people know what's going on. So that house right there has a fun nickname. It actually has 3 nicknames, but historic homes generally will only have 1 or 2. So the first one is going to be only because it has a cute address. So that is 432 or 432 Abercorn Q. Next one is the man who paid to build it. So that is the Benjamin Wilson House. And last one is earned through many years of nasty stories. So that right there is the Demon House.
Oof.
So that house was built in the 1860s. Construction finished in 1869 for a man named Benjamin Wilson. Now, Benjamin Wilson had a lot of 2 things. He had a lot of kids, he had a lot of money. He had 9 kids, and he wanted more kids, so he built a big old house to put his kids in. But unfortunately, they were living in Savannah, Georgia during one of our many yellow fever outbreaks. Now, yellow fever is one of the reasons that we have a number of mass graves in Savannah, Georgia. It did real well here. Like, it's spread through mosquitoes and humidity, and you can't do much about that here.
Yeah.
So people were dropping like flies. Okay, so the city's getting destroyed, this household gets destroyed. 8 of his 9 kids die, and then his wife dies.
Wow.
About a span of a week. So after that week, Benjamin Wilson is left alone in the house with one last little girl. Her name's Lily. She's 9 years old. He becomes very protective of her. Unfortunately for her, he has a profession that's going to kind of change the effects of this, okay? So he's a haberdasher. Do you guys know what haberdashers do? They make hats, and there's a phrase, mad as a hatter. That comes from the process of making hats. In order to make hats, you had to touch a lot of mercury. It's in the way that you treat beaver pelt to make black felt, which is what men like their hats being made out of at that time, and it's in the glue. So you're touching mercury with your bare hands, I don't know. And a lot of people got mercury poisoning.
Yep.
The symptoms of which are described as having gone mad, this mad as a hatter, and that Alice in Wonderland character. Okay? So just kind of keep that information in the back of your head. It's going to make some things make sense. So he comes up with one big rule that's going to keep his last daughter safe from everything. And his rule for her is she's not allowed to play with any children beneath their social standing. But at the time, this house is the most expensive house in Savannah, Georgia, which means she is screwed. She doesn't have a single child in the whole city she can play with. And she's left alone in that house all day long because her daddy goes off to work. All of her siblings are dead. She's just left alone. And it's made worse by the fact that this place had already been established, Blue Dog. That is currently the Massey Public School, the Massey Interpretive Center used to be the Massey Public School. That was the first public school in Savannah, Georgia. So any child, regardless of social background, can go there and learn, play, and grow. And the playground's right here, where we're sitting. So every afternoon, those kids come out and play, and she'd watch out those front windows, watching those kids play without her. And she's 9 years old. So she waits for him to go off to work. She waits till those kids come out and play, and as they're playing in the square, she runs out that front door, down the front staircase, into the square to play with those kids. She loses track of time. Does not realize her daddy's about to come home. And he does. And he sees red because she is directly disobeying the order he put in place to keep her alive. And so he snatches her up. And over to the window that's in line with the front door by the porch behind that little tree. Has like, you can see a gilded picture frame in the window. Okay, so that's the window I'm talking about. That is Lily's window. For reasons that will become very shortly obvious. That used to be in front of a dining set, like it was a dining room. So he took a chair from that dining set, sat in front of that window, sat her down into that chair, and then tied her to it. He then starts opening up the curtains in that window, making sure that anyone that walks around that window could look inside and see her being punished. Then he goes to all the servants in the house, and he dismisses them. He doesn't want a single person inside that house to help her. And then he closes those doors, and he himself leaves for 48 hours, which is bad beginning. This is also happening during August in Savannah, Georgia. And if you have not been initiated to Savannah August, it is brutal. It's well over 100 degrees most days, over 80% humidity most days. He comes back after that 48 hours, walks in through that front door into that room, and finds that his daughter has died from heat exhaustion. Not only has she died from heat exhaustion, but at some point, she turned her face to the side to shield from the light coming in through that window. The trees were much shorter than they are now. So the sunlight hit pretty directly. That window is made of that thick, curved, old-timey glass, which is acted like a magnifying glass to an ant. The side of her face is burnt past point of recognition. He is horrified by seeing this. A lot of people said he cared about her deeply. He just wasn't all that anymore, so he didn't understand what he had done.
Wow.
So he picked her up, took her up to bed, tucked her in one last time, found himself a piece of rope, took it upstairs, tied it to a bureau, took care of himself right behind that front door. So we're going to fast forward to the next story that I have, which happens in the 50s, 1959. This house is bought by a doctor and his wife, and they have 3 teenage daughters. They're moving up from Jupiter, Florida. The name of the family is Candle with a K, and the husband is a doctor. And he's got a fancy new job in Savannah, Georgia, and he's super excited about it. So he buys this big, beautiful house for his family to kind of show off to people. They're moving up the social ladder. They move inside. They're very happy. The wife's making friends around town. The kids are doing great at school. He's doing great at his work. So they invite some friends up to come visit so they can enjoy all the wonderful things in Savannah, Georgia. And the adults all want to go out for a night in town, which is normal. They leave the 3 teenage daughters alone in the house. Again, normal. This was a very safe neighborhood, especially at that time. There's a cop that would come around about once every hour, just kind of check in on houses, make sure nothing weird's happening. So it should be fine. Eldest was in charge. But the adults come back after that night on town. They walk in through that front door, and they find a horrifying scene in that room that Lily had died in earlier. Somebody had removed all the furniture from that room, but all 3 of those girls are dead. They were placed into a circle about that room, and somebody had gutted them like fish, insides outside. And they had used those intestines to shape into symbols about that room. Now, people who have seen the pictures do tell me that there is some discrepancy on what the symbols were specifically. There's a lot of blood. It's kind of hard.
Oof.
However, people say the overarching thing, somebody was trying to summon something. But this is pre-satanic panic. That happened in the 1980s. This is still the 50s. In order to do that sort of stuff and to have that in your mind, you would have to be very intentional and very well researched, maybe a little creative. And this is an unsolved triple homicide. Nobody was ever officially arrested for this.
Wow.
So the Cabell family does immediately move out after this. They don't want to be at this house anymore. So we're going to fast forward through a lot of different people. Now, this house, people do not live for more than 5 years, average closer to 2, and sometimes it's even abandoned. And then we reach the 80s, 1984. This house is bought by an investor. Her name's Omi Walden. Walden like Walden Books. She comes down from Atlanta, Georgia, sees this house. It is big, and it is beautiful, and it's selling for peanuts. So her intention is she's going to live inside for 2 years, fix it up real nice, and then she's going to sell it. She doesn't even make it 2 years. She packs up her bag in the middle of the night and leaves, refusing to come back. You'd think as an investor she would then sell back the place, make back some of that money, but she refuses, saying, and this is a direct quote, "It is too haunted, let it rot."
Wow.
Unfortunately for her, she has a house with a name in Savannah, Georgia, which means she is SOL. She's got to keep it standing. So she pays to keep this place standing from 1984 all the way to 2018 when she is forced to sell it by the city. And when she does sell it, she sells it to its current owners, which, by the way, they spent a good long time fixing up real nice. They only fairly recently moved in full-time, and as of this past, I would say early January, somebody did inform me that it's up for sale again. So just so you know.
What?
Anyway, yeah. So she buys this house. First day, walks in. The entire house reeks of rotten meat.
Oof.
But she thinks something has died in the wall. It's been abandoned for a while. So she has a contractor that's coming out to kind of do an estimate anyway. So she airs out that place, and the smell does start to dissipate a little bit, which is good. But then she realizes that smell is covering up a different smell. The smell of sulfur that kind of floats throughout that house. She thinks it's a plumbing issue. She's not bothered. Next thing that happens is people cannot visit through her front door. They get about halfway up that staircase, getting tossed over the side onto the sidewalk below.
What?
She thinks that's a railing issue.
Wait, when?
So this is in the 80s. This is like 84.
Wow.
So people were getting tossed over. She's like, no problem. I have other doors in my house. I'll get that fixed. No issue. Then she starts hearing the hysterical sobs and cries of a young girl she can't find. But at that point, she thinks somebody's angry at her and they're trying to pull a prank on her, get her to move off the property. She's not bothered. Thing that kicks her out is the bed problem. She said at first it's not that bad. It's like something heavy drove past place, so the floorboards would shake a little bit and her bed would shake a little bit. But by the time she left, that teeny little shake had turned into something trying to pitch her out of that bed. Now, most nights she'd just get out and move somewhere else because that's the kind of lady she was. However, and last night she was there, she said, I want to sleep in my bed. So she grabbed on the sides of the mattress. But as she wrapped her fingers around the edge of that mattress, something wrapped his fingers around her ankles and dragged her out. And that's when she left. I would have left it sulfur.
I have a story actually that goes along with the bed shaking. My grandparents, the foundation of their house, this was in Bree, Ohio. Mm-hmm. They had another house come in and they kind of squished two houses together to make a big house. And the second side of the house was a bunch of weird stuff. Don't have time for that. But they brought in two old beds, like twin-size beds. Mm-hmm. My grandma and my grandpa pushed them together so they could sleep together. One side of the bed kept shaking and waking up my grandma. And my grandpa wouldn't believe her until she tied the beds together and it shook them both. And my grandpa just threw them out.
Yeah, I think that's the logical answer to that happening to you. Paranormal scientists will generally tell you is when you see children are innocent. They move on very quickly. So when you see a child for hundreds of years, that is bad. Okay? It's something using that form to try to get an emotion out of you. And this little house has a lot of issues for specifically grown women in Savannah, Georgia. So grown women, congratulations gentlemen, you're out. But grown women walk past that place. They look up in that window and they see that little girl's face peering down at them. And they feel sad because everyone knows the story of Lily. That's a sad story. Yeah. But then they go home. Sadness will get worse, deeper and darker, until it worked into the deepest depression they'd ever experienced. Now some of them got out of it because they had good family support or good therapy or whatever, and they're fine. However, the ones that were unable to would turn to substances, relationships they had around them. Some of them would just disappear off the face of the earth, and nobody thinks a little girl named Louise doing that sort of stuff.
That's crazy.
They say if she was a vengeful spirit, she'd be going after men specifically. And what we think happened is when this place got built, it already had a lot of nastiness underneath it. That nastiness drew something truly evil in that is sat in there like a spider, soaking up all those bad vibes, and now it's nice and full. So it's decided to take on a form that's best to attract its preferred prey. Because who among us are more sympathetic to little girls than those of us who've been little girls ourselves?
Right.
And this house has always had a fondness for ladies. You should go all the way over to the next street. When they built it, it was the most expensive house in Savannah, Georgia, at a massive $20,000.
Wow.
That is just cursed.
Yeah, it is a cursed house.
So you're not cursed?
I'm partially cursed. I'm not cursed like that. Oof.
This is Monterey Square, like the cheese. Pulaski Square's out that way. We have a number of Pulaski buildings, and we have a Pulaski school. Yeah, so here's the thing. The reason that we like him so much is because he was a very important war general who fought in Savannah, Georgia, and was mortally wounded. And so we were like, we appreciate you. But the other thing, the other reason why we like him so much is because he's buried right over there. See that little indent in that slab?
Oh.
Yeah, that's where he is.
I didn't know he was buried here.
Sweet.
Cool.
I mean, he died down the street, so if you see a horse on a war monument, you can tell real fast if they lived or died. Okay? 4 hooves down means they lived long enough to be a hero, so they lived a good long time after the battle. 3 hooves down, that means that they died in a bed, but they died very shortly after the battle. If they got 2 hooves down, that means they died during the battle. And whoever decided to do this monument said, I want him to look extra dead, which is why it's
So what if it's one hoof?
I don't think they do that one. He didn't even make it to the battlefield. He died on the way. People see that on his shield there's horses. He's riding a horse, and on the other side of those shields there's more horses. Some people are like, wow, did this guy like horses or something? And the answer is yes, in a way. He established what would later become the U.S. Cavalry. So he was very good with horses.
Wow, cool.
And every so often, there'll be another city in the U.S. that says, we have the final resting place of Casimir Pulaski. Savannah goes, don't say that. Because Savannah Tourism Board is very intense about stuff we got going on. Basically, they're very proud about the stuff we have and nobody else has. So when somebody else is saying, we have Casimir Pulaski, they don't like that. And so last time that was happening, it was like a town in Illinois that was saying that. They said, bet. They dug him up, proved that we had him, put him right back down.
Really?
So far, he hasn't come back to haunt us back. That's where he was.
Wow.
They dug him up, said, he's here, put him right back down. So that is the Espy House, ESPY, not S&P. The Espy House was built for the Espy family because we're very creative with the way we name things around here. It is a fairly new build for downtown Savannah, Georgia. It was built in 1918, and if it's got a 19 in front of it, it is brand sparkling new. The Espy family consisted of 4 people: husband, wife, older son, younger granddaughter. The husband is who we're going to talk about for a second, and so he built himself a speakeasy. And he put that speakeasy exactly where he wanted to meet, which is down in his basement, okay? Now, his speakeasy lasted 2 years. Prohibition lasted 13. He didn't get shut down. It just didn't work out. He had some very interesting connections with local Irish mob, because that's who was doing the rum running. His older adult son also had some very interesting connections with local Irish mob's wives. Free piece of advice, you don't have to take it, but I generally tell people, if you're going to be involved in large crime syndicate, you don't do that through having affairs with people's wives. It's bad for your life expectancy. And it was bad for this young man's, because one morning Savannah woke up to a newspaper article that told us that man had died. He had an accident. He fell off his porch, and it was fatal, which is horrible. According to the article, fell off that white railing and landed impaled on that black fence.
On the fence?
Yeah, now I'm not a physicist. However, when I fall off things, I fall straight down toward the earth because that's how gravity works for me. His gravity took him about 10 feet out and then down, which makes us pretty sure that's not how he died. However, the other reason we're pretty sure that's not how he died is because he had sustained what I will call a very specific injury. Certain important parts of his anatomy were missing.
What?
It's not his fingers or his tongue, I'm sorry. However,
It had done the splits, you know.
where that ended up, nobody knew because it wasn't a local newspaper article.
It wasn't like the railing over.
And I had a local that would come in on a fairly regular basis, asking where the bathrooms was, grab a postcard for the grandkids, and I got to talking to one. And I started talking about this place because I wanted to farm a story from her. And she said, do you know where it ended up? And I went, no, why don't you tell me? And she said, it was in his lapel like a boutonniere. And I said, well, isn't that festive? And she went off to go find a bathroom. But her husband is with her, and this entire time he's like shaking his head while he's looking at the postcard. And so when he comes up to buy that postcard and she's off the bathroom, I go, well, what do you think? But what he had heard was it was in his mouth like a chewing gum. So it's kind of a choose your own adventure, whichever one you'd prefer to imagine. One's is going to be real for you, because the newspaper article did not tell us which one was true. Is that when Judge Espy got a little liquor inside of him, he liked to fight people. And if he could not find somebody downstairs, one of his friends, he'd go upstairs and he'd find his wife. And if he could not find his wife, he'd find his granddaughter. Now, his wife dealt with this in a very specific way because she's in 1920s in Savannah, Georgia. She can't get divorced. But what she can do is spend his money. And she is very good at it. This woman had a closet full of fur coats in Savannah, Georgia, which are useless, but beautiful. Okay?
Yeah.
But her most famous purchase was a table. But this was an antique table. It was marble top, one huge single slab of it, over a ton of marble. Hand-carved artisan legs. It cost more than a car would have at that time, and she plunked it right in her front room so everybody got to see it. It was a pride and joy. Well, one night her husband comes home, drunk as a skunk, mean as a snake, looking for a fight. They get into it. The fight starts verbal, gets physical. As soon as it becomes physical, the granddaughter runs and hides because that's how she handles things. So if they can't find her, nothing's going to happen. And so as soon as it becomes physical, the fight culminates in him lifting his wife up by the shoulders and throwing her as hard as he can on top of that marble top table. But under the additional force and weight of that body hitting that marble top, those artisan legs snap in half and it falls down on top of the granddaughter who is hiding underneath it. She's crushed to death.
Oh my
They
God.
cannot get that marble up off her fast enough, and by the time they do, she no longer looks like the girl that she was.
Oh my
That's a horrible thing that leads to the ghost thing, okay? People sometimes walk down the street in a pair. Quite often they will see what appears to be a little girl hiding behind the blinds, but she's not hiding from you. She's hiding from something inside that house.
Wow.
So you see the back of her head. Now, a lot of people, when they see that, they point it out to their friend. That friend looks up there, and 9 times out of 10, they do not see a little girl. Instead, they see the face of what appears to be a screaming old woman. Now, around here, we have something that we call a boo hag. However, it exists in almost every single culture around the world. It just generally has better names, okay? Boo hags have to do sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis is when your body's asleep but your brain's awake, so you feel like you can't move. Now, when this happens to some people see things, some people can't breathe, and the combination of all 3 of these wonderful things happening to you is called a boo hag. It is generally described as either a little imp-like creature or a little haggard old person that gets up into your chest and keeps you from breathing. Now, we think we might have a little bit of a boo hag issue because of something that happened in the 1980s. Now, in 78, that's when SCAD was established, Savannah College of Art and Design, like I was telling you earlier. And after a little while of it being established, a lot of big old houses that were kind of struggling to keep up said, do you know how we can make money? Be in apartment buildings. So that's what a lot of places were. This is no different. Behind that little window, there's a lady that was coming down from Iowa to go to SCAD. She was having a great time. It was the first time away from home. She's making friends. She's making art. She's having new experiences. She calls her parents about once a week on the landline to be like, I'm doing great. I love you. Bye. That sort of conversation. But then midterms come around, she calls up her parents and she's telling them, you know, she's having a great time, she's fine. But recently something weird has happened. Every time she goes to sleep, she sees these shadowy figures stand in the corner of her bedroom or sometimes dancing through the foot of her bed. She goes, it's kind of weird. And parents are like, honey, you're having too much fun. Go to sleep more. And so she says, okay, tries to get a little bit more sleep, things are improving. But then finals week comes around. She calls up in the middle of the night, which sets her parents off into a panic. But she says, no, I'm safe. Don't worry about it. I'm fine right now. But every time I go to sleep, an old woman sits on my chest and screams at me. And her parents are horrified.
Yeah.
They drive down from Iowa. That's where she's from. They drive down from Iowa, snatch her up, take her back home. So we kind of lose track of her, but we don't see any faces for 10 years. Nothing. But after 10 years is up, we start seeing faces again. Now, so things you need to know about boo hags. Number 1, they have hunting grounds. They stay put in one little spot until they find their prey. But once they find their prey, they attach them. Okay, and they become, number 2, inexorcisable, which is just a fun way of letting you know once you have a boo hag, new best friend for life, sleepovers every night. Now power cross compels she's going to get away from you. However, the third thing is the thing that makes it a problem, which is boo hags get their sustenance from sucking life force out of you while you're sleeping.
Oof.
So for 10 years it's gone, then it comes back. The only reason a boo hag comes back to their hunting grounds is because it needs to hunt again. Some very optimistic people say that young lady found a way to exercise the inexorcisable, and she's leading a very full life in the Midwest. I'm not that optimistic. However, in the spirit of optimism, I will tell you this leads us to what I will say is a very exclusive souvenir opportunity. If you guys want a boo hag, we have one the whole city. Lives inside there. You're gonna have to do a little breaking and entering, but as long as I'm not around, I don't care about it, okay? So this building bought that building. So when you run out of space for your flock in downtown Savannah, Georgia, and you need an expansion, if the place is for sale next door, you can buy it. It's subsidized. And so they turned it into the extension of a lot of their spaces. It's the extension of their office space and also the extension of their nursery. So if you guys are looking for like the highest rated daycare in downtown Savannah, Georgia, it is right inside.
What?
There's a little bit of wait list, but again, it's good.
They're putting kids in there?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
They do keep little babies on this side. So that's good.
Are there any marble tables?
Good news. No boo hags on the babies.
No boo hags for babies. And there's the playground.
Oof. I just noticed that you got eyes in the sky and on these parks. There's a camera there. See it?
Oh yeah, there's cameras everywhere.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's a good thing. That's why I guess I don't see many cops around, right?
I mean, you will see them if you look.
Uh-huh.
You'll see them on foot a lot, and so they'll just be like in a shadow somewhere.
Gotcha.
But if you see them in a car, they're usually lights off. And just so you guys know, fun fact, that is the original coloring, is that orange and green, which I think is kind of fun. Anyway, so his first wife got a very sick and child, which is sad. And he's doing what he can do. He's one of the wealthiest men in Savannah, Georgia. That's his job, is to make money. However, he needs somebody around doing the rest of the stuff. Raising his kids, running his household, throwing all those parties. And so he's got to get remarried. And luckily for him, he has what Savannah would have deemed a built-in backup wife at that time, which is kind of cringy, but that's how it worked. So basically, if your wife died a little bit too early and she had an unmarried sister, that's your future wife.
Wow.
Doesn't work that way anymore, correct?
Sheesh.
Yeah, okay, good. So he writes his sister-in-law, future wife. Her name's Matilda. He says, Matilda, I'm so sorry to inform you your sister has passed away. Maybe we should get married. And she wrote back, fine, but here are my conditions. Okay, this is a business arrangement. It is not a love match. It's socially acceptable. She's kind of expecting it, you know?
Wow.
So she wrote back this big long list that she wanted out of this marriage. Now, Miss Molly is an enslaved person, which makes this dynamic I'm about to describe unusual. But these two ladies were friends. They grew up together. Their children together. They played together all the time. And Miss Molly would even sometimes go to school with Miss Matilda, which is unusual for an enslaved person. That means that she was literate.
Yeah.
And because of this literacy, we do have diaries and letters that she wrote. And in the letters between these young ladies, they called each other friend and later called each other sister. So that's how close they are, okay? Matilda's about to marry Francis. She says, Miss Molly's coming with me. And Francis says, okay, that sounds great. I would love another work in my house. She goes, great. Also, when Miss Molly moves into Savannah, Georgia, she needs the highest social rank that can be given to a woman in Savannah, Georgia. Which for an enslaved woman in Savannah, Georgia, was head maid inside that household. So he said, that is within my power, can do that. Also, Miss Matilda needs her own room, private entrance, and she needs her own key. He's not very happy about that, to be honest, because frankly, according to time period, if you look at it like he would, that would be her telling him that he could not access something that he owned, which did bother him. But he really wanted to marry her, so he built that private room, private entrance onto slave quarters in the rear, gave her her own key. They both moved in. Francis married Matilda, and for all intents and purposes, that marriage was going okay because they went on to have 8 more kids. They're highly involved in every aspect of Savannah society, occasionally even politics, which is unheard of for women at that time. They also are really involved in church and philanthropy. They raise those kids real well. They're highly educated, highly respected. One of them even becomes a surgeon, and they throw bigger and better parties than the rich people. They're very good at what they do.
When was this?
So this is the 18. This would have been closer to the 1850s at this point. Rather, Miss Matilda's running around that house because she can't find Miss Molly. Miss Molly's head maid. The only reason she is not in the main house is when she's sick. So she goes out to that back room, knocks on her private door, does not get a response. She's then worried that her friend is so sick she can't get out of bed. So she opens up that door and finds Francis in Miss Molly's room.
Ooh.
Now, I'm going to tell you that a lot of people try to make this into an affair, but historical records do indicate that this was a violent act that she walked in on.
Oh.
It was not an affair. Okay.
Yikes.
Miss Matilda is obviously horrified seeing this. She starts screaming at him. He starts screaming back at her. They have a very public screaming match, so public it shows up in the newspaper the next day. Police report said that after all that running and all that screaming, Miss Matilda caught the vapors, which means she got faint.
Yeah.
And she fell off that porch, hit her head on cobblestone below, cracked it open like an egg, and died. But she was buried in a pauper's grave. That is an unmarked grave. This is a woman of means and standing, and a God-fearing woman in Savannah, Georgia. She should have been put in Christchurch Cemetery. There's only one reason why she wouldn't have been put out there, and that is if she had committed what the church believed to be a mortal sin. So people said that Francis paid off the cops, paid off their porters, paid off all their friends, said it was an accident. Could not pay off the church. So the church put her exactly where they thought she belonged because she had jumped. And that is not the only tragedy that happened to these women. Because a couple weeks later, Miss Molly was also found dead. She was found dead in her private room, hung from the rafters. Police report this time said that she felt, this is in quotes, bunny ears, because basically that she felt so guilty for having seduced her master and caused her mistress an accident that she just had to die. 2 reasons why it should set off BSM meters. Number 1 is a cultural reason. Miss Molly's a Haitian woman. If she's going out, this is not the way she's going out, okay? Just culturally. And the second reason is a physics issue. Miss Molly's only about 4'11". She's a very petite lady. Those rafters are 8 feet up in the air. She does not have furniture. She would have needed assistance. Francis was out of town at the time, who was well in business. That's on record. However, he had 2 adult sons in town, so a lot of people believe that he asked one or both of those adult sons to tie up those loose ends, i.e. Miss Molly.
Miss Molly didn't kill herself.
No.
Do you know the ages of them?
So they would have been in their late 30s, honestly. They're fairly young. So now we're going to hit layers and lists. First layer, first floor. When I say first floors in Savannah, Georgia, I never mean the part by the sidewalk. I'm sure you guys have noticed it, but we're very squishy. So you got to walk up the front steps and through that front door to get to that first floor. Like I've heard people tell about things fly off the walls, place settings go missing, chairs that move across rooms. But frankly, all of it kind of pales in comparison to basement stuff. Basement stuff's my favorite stuff. There's a little girl down there named Sarah. Sarah's favorite game is hide and seek, but Sarah is dead, which makes it a little different, okay? What she likes to do is she hides underneath furniture. Her favorite place is this big long couch that kind of sits on the wall. She hides underneath that couch and she waits for people to come down, and when they do, sometimes they sit on that couch. And if they're there long enough, she goes, They know where I am. They're it now. So she reached out and touched them. But
Wait,
this is-
who's Sarah? How'd she get there?
Sarah died of scarlet fever. She was a girl that lived inside the house. She was about 7 years old when she died. Now, next thing down on my list only affects gentlemen, so I don't care about it. Okay? Men go down there, especially tall guys go down there, and they get their picture made. And they look back at that picture and they go, oh no, because they meet the 8-foot tall shadow man that was down that basement. And that is 8 feet tall without that fun little top hat he likes to put on too. What he does is he gets real close and personal with those guys in that picture. They get familiar with him, but he doesn't try to drag him to hell or anything. It's not like a demon over there. But people that I know that got those pictures say that it feels a little different when it's happening, but I don't want to think that about him. I think he's a fancy, fun guy. Next thing down on my list does affect everybody. And that's because occasionally people go down, they look around, they see what appears to be men in historical wear, Revolutionary War uniform. So people come up and try to ask them a question, but as soon as they do, they disappear into a wall or into thin air. And I don't like that. I like to know when I talk to a person, it's a person.
Right.
However, the last thing down on my list affects everything, everybody, and it is possibly the worst thing inside that basement. In my opinion, it's the worst thing.
Oh, this is all basement stuff.
This is all basement stuff. That's basement's the best area, okay? So down there on after nights, people are pushed, bit, scratched, hair yanked. But the thing that it's best known for doing is going after dangly earrings. On active nights, they tell you to take them out at this point because they've had too many instances of something happening. Sometimes it just kind of gets messed with. However, they have had multiple accidents where people get those things ripped out of their ears and thrown across them bloody.
Weird.
This place became very functional during the Civil War. One of the elder Sorrell sons became a surgeon. In this region, if you had surgery, you had about a 40% chance of living. Okay? However, if you went to Frank, that was his name. Frank was the best in the region. You had a 50% chance. And I would have taken the extra 10%.
Yeah,
I've
of
been
course.
told that the reason that he got that extra 10% is because he had the brilliant idea that if you wrap wounds and clean things, it is better. Okay? So that's good. So, but he's operating quite literally from his basement. And if 50% of your patients are dying,
Right. That's a lot of dying.
yeah, you have to make a strategic decision on layout, and that for him was where to put the morgue. So if you see the green arched window, parlor goes over. Okay. Basically, if you didn't make it off that table, they stash you on the room on the side. You can pick them up on the side, go home. However, this is not a good time for communication. So a lot of people did not know to come pick up their loved ones. So a lot of bodies just got stuck there. And they sat there until they got too old or they ran out of space. So they take the old bodies and put them out into paupers' graves, which means nobody's coming to find you.
Crazy that this stuff is so pervasive here that these buildings and these establishments have changed their rules.
Yeah.
Like even from a diner, keeping their lights on.
Oh yeah, so they changed this
Really?
into a museum. Like, did they ever have this as a place where like people could stay there, or?
Not people. I don't think they ever had it as a hotel. But I will tell you, when the owners first did buy it, the first place that they lived in was in the slave quarters, which does not work out well for them. And then they moved upstairs, and that did not work out for them. So now they don't live on the property anymore. So just leave me a review if you had a good time.
No,
And
that's
just
like
let
you've
me-
been great. This is
I'm glad you had a good time.
super informative, awesome
Okay.
stuff.
That gave me the heebie-jeebies for sure.
That's my job.
Old celebrity house.
If I had the money, I would buy the Demon House and I would do like daytime tours, probably not nighttime tours. The Demon House, people can't live there more than a few years.
Yeah, you're right,
and that it's up for sale again.
You're right.
That's how you know. That's confirmation.
People definitely don't like having it.
Yeah.
You got to be a millionaire to find out what the problem is, though.
But I know that if I were able to buy it, I still know people would pay buku bucks to just stay in there and try to get killed by a demon. So I just asked if there are any ghosts around, and then my water bottle went like this. I swear to God, just happened. Right in front of Zach's face, but he was on Instagram instead. Just out of nowhere. Crazy. All right, I'm about to head to a paranormal investigation at the Savannah Historic Theater. Here's the fit. And this crop top is actually a ripped pair of pants that I upcycled, and I've been waiting for an opportunity to wear them. I'm excited. Gonna bring you guys along for the ride. Zach won't be coming because he's busy. He's working, but that's okay because we're gonna have fun. We're gonna see some spooky stuff. Let's go! Here we are at the Savannah Theater. This is where the ghost tour is tonight.
When you guys do go up and around throughout the whole building tonight, all the cameras will be in infrared mode, IR lighting. With that said, you guys will also have handheld cameras. This reads EMF. We have thermal imaging. I pop my hand right up here on the wall, let it hang out for a second. That handprint's gonna linger. We're gonna be recording audio, especially wavelengths higher and lower than what our ears would naturally hear. And on those wavelengths, we're able to pick up things that are called EVPs, electronic voice phenomena. And for the most part, it should stay dark until there's some sort of movement of it. It'll turn off after a while. We'll usually put it up on the stage or in one of the stairwell or stage right, one of the more active spots. We like to see if we can get them to make it light up throughout the night. Can they come and touch it and actually give us a physical response? Spirit boxes. The closer you get to this red light, the more it's going to change color. Can you do that? Even if you want to pick up the equipment and move it somewhere else, you're more than welcome to, just with the ramp pod pick up from the base. You guys come right up here and sit down. This is the oldest operating theater in the United States, by the way.
Cool.
It's an old building. Opened up in 1818. Second theater ever built in the United States. Though when I tell you this theater has had upwards to 12 fires inside of it, we can probably agree fire codes are an okay thing. The first one was in 1827. In 1827, in order to light up the stage, you would have had candles of all sorts. You would have had oil lamps and kickbox. Kickboxes were mirror boxes with candlesticks on the inside that reflected the glow back out onto the stage. Now, at some point during one night, an actress was exiting stage right, and as she did, her dress caught one of those boxes and knocked it over. The candlesticks fell onto the stage. A stage that did just have a new coat of fresh lacquer applied to it, which then completely engulfed the stage in flames. The theater was evacuated, the fire department came in and did their job, and when they finally got to the stage and they were working on putting the fire out from the stage, that's when they came to the heartbreaking realization that 5 people had been trapped beneath it when the fire had started. You had 2 stagehands, 2 male performers, and 1 young up-and-coming actress, Miss Elizabeth Rose. Or Miss Lizzie, we've come to learn she likes to be called. Back then, the stage was a little bit more reserved for names like Oscar Wilde, Otis Skinner, Tyrone Power, Edwin Booth. That one may not be as popular as his brother is, John Wilkes, who also performed here, and their father, Junius. Some of the best Shakespearean actors we've seen. They performed on this stage. So Miss Lizzie had to start at the bottom, working underneath the stage as a stagehand, do her time, put in her money, all the way up through the top until she hit leading lady. She even stated that when she got it, she ended up filling this building with not even standing room left. Now, unfortunately, though, all of them had been found on stage left in the women's dressing room. Believed heat and smoke inhalation is ultimately what took their lives that night. Some of them reported saying they were in the dressing room, they would start hearing her voice on the stage as if she was still performing in the building. Some would even say they'd see her turning corners, they would see her out of the corner of their eye. As an amazing audience that we're going to be tonight, what do performers love?
Applause.
Exactly. If you guys just give a good round of applause for them, that energy exchange goes a long way. The more you guys give, the more you're likely to get something back. That's the first fire, which then leads us into 1906, which is the second fire. It's believed to have been of arson. It was tampered electrical wires underneath the stage that ultimately caused the fire to overtake the orchestra pit. 2 people did not make it out that night and 2 passed away beneath the stage. 1948 is the final fire. This is Savannah. This is the south, so this upper half of the balcony was actually the segregated half of Savannah's seating area at the time, with this over here being their entrance and exit, not the emergency exit like it is today. Now, we had a gentleman who worked up here. His name was Rodney. He operated the spotlight systems, and Rodney had his son Ben with him all the time. The other thing was 1948, y'all could smoke inside the buildings. At some point during the performance, someone opened up, so this door to my right, your left, someone opened up that door, similar to what would be there now, I guess. Flicked in the butt end of a cigar, closed the door, and continued to watch the performance. After a while, someone noticed something weird, and they went up to investigate that door, and they opened it, and they introduced oxygen to flames. That, partnered with the carpeted walls of the Savannah Theater at the time, caused the fire to start moving quite drastically up here. When that happened, the theater started its evacuation process, and both parts of Savannah's communities proceeded to their access to the theater, and everyone piled into that stairwell. They went all the way down to the bottom, and they went to go push through that door, and that was actually when they came to the heartbreaking realization that that door had been locked. All that turns into a stampede as everyone starts to rush their way up the stairs and out through the lobby. Rodney couldn't find Ben. He probably made it just outside the door before he succumbed to smoke inhalation and Rodney passed away up here. What he didn't know was at the bottom of the staircase was Ben, but unfortunately in the midst of that stampede, Ben had gotten caught up in it that night. He was trampled to death. But when we do walk behind the stage in a moment, you guys are going to see that brick wall. That is still the original 1818 brick wall still standing. That's why it technically is considered a 205-year-old building. We need at least one wall intact. So like I said, this is the original 1818 brick wall. And these are the windows that would have been in there. And you can actually see when you're up close enough, you can see the brick from out here versus the brick from here is two different bricking. So this is when, well, later in time when they bricked up the walls. Stephen was a stagehand here in the theater in 1997. Specifically a rigger, so they're the ones that deal with the rope and everything that goes up and all the fun theater stuff. One night after a rehearsal, Stephen stayed behind in the building, and he climbed up this exact same ladder, had a noose around his neck, and jumped.
Oh.
And they end up finding his body on the floor the next morning because the rope he chose ended up not holding up his body weight overnight.
Oh my god.
Now, he's one of the few spirits in the building that we've really come to learn that actually can manipulate physical objects.
So I'm wondering, when the box speaks, is it an echo or does
That's
it
the
take
reverb pedal. The reverb pedal echoes it. So it gives us about a 3 times echo, so it gives it a little bit easier for us to hear what it's actually saying.
So it's taking something from the radio?
It's just pure static white noise. So these are actual voices being broken through the white noise. It's where movies are trying to get the right idea, but slightly off path. What it is doing is spirit boxes do use the AM and FM wavelengths of energy. Now, what I will show you guys is this has no actual antenna. This antenna is completely detached from the system, so there is no antenna in the system.
Huh.
We bring it up because it's like just like the REM pod, it's a conduit point.
Yeah.
So it's an easier point for them to connect with to communicate through it. But there's no actual antenna system inside the spirit boxes. Who's bored? Bored now? Good job. I'm sorry. I've got to dig.
I had a
You have
question,
them
sorry.
later. But what it is doing is swiping through the endless wavelengths of AM and FM radio. Movies tell you it's using radio, it is, but it's using the empty frequencies. And since we have no since we have no antenna system connected, it's not picking up radio stations.
Wow, okay.
Now,
Cool.
that is swiping to a station. This is my boss talking about that same ladder we were just talking about. And what we're actually going to watch is this white hanger behind his head. Boop.
Oh, wow.
And it's gone. My favorite thing is if you actually look at that hanger, when I take it a little bit, let me center it. Do you see the hand over the top?
You should.
There's the knuckles, the arch of the hand, and the thumb that comes behind it. But it's one that was hanging here, and it was actually pulled with so much force, it snapped. And then it smashed into this wall, and John heard it all the way upstairs on those couches.
What?
He heard the hanger smashing into the wall all the way up there.
Dang.
Yeah, and I actually had a group of girls on my tour about a month ago who was there that night, and they said it was so loud it scared them all. So
It's crazy.
is Steven.
I
We're
know.
gonna leave, Steven. Come on, you guys. We're gonna walk behind me through the stage.
Me too. Me too. What?
So as you guys are hanging out in the theater, this is stage right.
Yeah, this is going off over here. Yeah, this is happening.
Stage right, or the center stage is going off. Are you performing? Lizzie was the main performer. We get a Paul on the stage too. We don't know if he's from the orchestra pit or from maybe Lizzie's choir or just who knows where he's from. But he'll perform for us sometimes too. We don't know who he is.
I can hear it.
I'm gonna let you perform and I'm gonna keep talking. Stage right below your feet and farther back corners where Miss Lizzie did pass, as well as the other 4. Warm up.
Oh my god.
Alrighty guys, welcome into what the theater calls the dog run, we call Creepy Hallway. So for about 100 years this hallway's been here after they popped the dressing rooms back here. Did you guys hang out in here throughout the night? You might meet a couple of our friends. There's a belief that when you take 2 mirrors and you completely cross them, that image then becomes infinite. And that infinite imagery opens things like portals, passageways that allows things to travel through them. That's why they tell you not to do it in your home, so you don't let things into your home you don't want in there. Welcome to the mirror room. Let me get a little vibey of the night. As I tell you about Bill. Bill's a director and producer inside the Savannah Theater for many years. Gay man. Now, he unfortunately also loved his cigars. And he ended up being diagnosed with throat cancer and had to retire from the theater. After working on that throat cancer battle, he ended up losing it in 2010 and he passed away. people who rehearse here said they've heard booing or clapping coming from the balcony. We even get over the spirit box. Sometimes he'll go like, girl. Or we've heard bitch. We think that's him. Some people say they even smell cigar smoke around the theater.
Oh, yeah.
Ben.
Yeah, called me a bitch earlier, actually. I guess that was maybe Bill.
Maybe.
But it didn't say it like a bitch, it said bitch.
Or that might have been Bob, which is our next one.
Fuck that guy, alright.
Bob is, if we had to say there was something negative in the building, it just said bitch again. If we had to say there was something meh in the building, it's Bob. He was here in the 70s. He's our theater's Harvey Weinstein, the kind of, maybe I help paint to who he might be to some people. It came to light in the 70s that he was putting children in adult-themed situations for the play. Once parents got a hold of that information, they immediately went to the theater heads and got him fired. But about 4 months after he was fired, allegations started coming up from girls as young as 13. That went all the way through to adults. That unspeakable things were happening in the women's dressing room to them. Insult words, as you heard, what he called John, what he likes to call me. Bitch is one of his favorites. Whore, slaughter, another one. Idiot, stupid, retard. Those are all words he chooses to use to try and insult people on the tour. He said he died in 2004 of natural causes. After that is going to be a building next door to the theater. There's a cement wall surrounding a giant building that's the Superintendent School District building of Savannah. In the early 1800s, there was a lot of little buildings there. In the 1820 fire of Savannah, destroyed most of those. And one of the buildings they destroyed was an orphanage that had 8 children and 2 nuns that did not make it out. So over time, we've gotten kids in this building that we've come to learn are not Ben. And we think that's where they come from, is the orphanage. You having fun?
Wow.
I said, yeah, I was a child.
That was so weird. I felt like something on this left leg. Like,
Something walked in the room with us.
just to recap, when it comes to this device, it changes color when it's closer to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here, and
So
yellow's a little closer.
The green is here,
Mm-hmm.
and then yellow.
Wow.
So it's got to be pretty much within the stool width of it to actually make it go off.
Like that.
Thank
Okay.
you. 2 blocks behind Drayton Street is Colonial Park Cemetery. 2 blocks behind this building specifically is Colonial Park Cemetery. At one point in time, the cemetery was about 2 to 3 blocks in every direction larger, and the headstones of the cemetery ended against the very back wall of this theater. Now, when the city condensed the cemetery down to the size it is today, for very, very many numerous reasons, they did not relocate the bodies. They just paved the city over it. The bodies from the cemetery headstones still lie against this building. They're just paved over. The other side is Chippewa Square. The squares themselves cover mass graves. Soldiers specifically, because McDonald's was an amputation hospital in the Civil War. And when soldiers died, they had nowhere else to put them, so they just started digging holes in the ground and burying them there. The numerous psychics have done this tour, having no idea that a few of them have all said the same thing, which is when they're in the back room against that old brick wall. Quite a few of them have felt a portal idea there as well. And they believe that there's one that kind of basically connects this building into Colonial Park Cemetery. So the spirits of the cemetery can travel through the building. With that said, you guys, let's head on out and get you guys loaded up with equipment.
I have an audio reader. These things are super sensitive. Like, I can hear what's going on, like, downstairs in this thing. Super, super sensitive. Gotta be really careful with this. And then I have this that I'm gonna be walking around with. So that's fun. Here I am, upstairs. I'm gonna try to go in the spooky hallway. And the spirit box is really loud in there, so it's so hot in here. Oh God. So this is what it looks like. Should I go down there? What's the name of the little boy? What is your name? Who are you? Someone here? Did you leave? Oh, you're still here, huh? Can you touch this green light? Oh? Can you touch the green light? I saw it for a second. Oh, nice. Well done. Going all the way down. It feels very stuffy in here. Stuffy and hot. Well, a little bit of activity. Someone here with us? All right, right here. Oh, yellow. Okay. So you're about right here, huh? I'm gonna go now. Don't go? What's your name? Oh, I can see that you're here. Are you the little boy? It's nice to meet you. Can you show yourself? Oh wow. Yeah, I feel you. You're very cold. You're very cold. Oh yeah, the cat toy. It's moving. It lit up because it moved.
Lizzie, is it you?
Oh my goodness. Oh, something so simple, but effective.
Three. Thank you.
There's 3 of us here.
It takes a while to get a response. So.
You're bored.
I hate girl.
Oh, me? Oh, oops.
Who do you hate?
Or her. Or do I hate girls in general? Wait, is this the gay one?
Is this Bob? Steven?
Steve.
Have you seen Lizzie? Woman?
It's Parker. Courtney.
Huh.
Courtney is one of our other investigators.
Speed it up.
I knew it.
What was
I knew
that?
it.
Wow, that was clear.
Is that you, Lizzie?
Yeah.
Hello, Lizzie.
Hi, Lizzie.
In there.
Break?
The bricks? The
Bricks. The bricks. Maybe she's down here somewhere? Yeah?
Do you want us to walk down the hall near the bricks? We'll meet you.
Yeah, okay.
That's fair.
Yep. 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 Got some yellow activity back here. Oh wow, steady yellow. This is the men's or the women's dressing room over here?
Women's side.
Women's side. Ooh. Oh wow, that was fast.
What?
As soon as they walked in.
That's
Oh,
crazy.
hello, howdy.
Hi.
They wanted you to come in here.
Yeah, I think Lizzie told us from backstage that she wanted us in here.
I don't know. It wasn't doing this at all until you guys walked in.
That's crazy.
It didn't do anything until you all walked in, and then it went ballistic.
If it was a battery, it would keep on doing that though, right?
Yeah.
That was weird.
I think it glitched. Like it got so much in one go, and then you know how like it'll stay sometimes.
Kind of hot in here.
But it's an idiot.
Yeah.
Oh, angry Bob.
Is that Angry Bob?
That was cunt.
Sheesh.
That one in a while. Usually it's just 4 for me.
How many people are in the room?
I did hear 5. And there is 5 of us.
Again.
Is that Gwen?
Do you know anyone's name in the room?
Bob.
Good job.
Did Bob hurt any of you?
You laughed. That's toxic, Bob.
Yeah, it sure is.
So you can't play it back on here.
Nice to meet you.
Oh.
We wouldn't be able to fast.
Wow.
It's nice to meet you too. I sound like Siri.
Thank you.
So the app runs like an Ovilus does. Ovuluses are able to register all sorts of atmospheric changes, EMF change, pressure, temperature, things like that. The app runs off of just EMF, but they're able to kind of pull from a dictionary concept and give us words to communicate easier that way. So it gives us the words, but Siri reads it off.
So the phone doesn't mess with that? Like it would with the K2s?
I can make it call.
Please do. Because that's proximity, so when I set it down, I pushed the reset button, so then it reset the proximity with the phone included in it.
Oh, cool. Okay. It'd be nice if you made it a little cold in here.
My bad, that was a text message tone.
Horses.
Horses?
What about horses?
There are lots of horses here. I've seen them at the square.
Where are my ashes?
I don't know.
Wow. They're probably here somewhere. It's a pretty consistent yellow on the K2.
Probably this
Nasty.
normal for that room. What's nasty?
Hello.
What is going on?
Good question.
Beware of the woman.
Facts.
Are you saying beware of female spirits? Or the women in the room currently?
I am absolutely loving this interactive experience. Everyone should do this. I mean, if you're a skeptic, if you're a believer, it doesn't matter. Like, do it. If you have an opportunity to do a paranormal investigation with equipment, do it. And I'm not really scared either. I'm not that scared. I'm a little spooked, especially knowing there are some bad ghosties in here, but I'm having a good time. And the ghosts are very responsive, surprisingly responsive. So, let's go. Hello? Oh. Oh, wow. Yeah, someone's in here, huh? Who's in here? As soon as I came in, it went yellow and they said something.
Hello.
Again? Yes, hello again. Consistent yellow.
It's Ellie and Tim.
Leave? Oh.
I know you're here.
Yeah, they're definitely here. I feel a cold spot right here, too.
Can you see us in this room?
Do you feel that?
Oh, there it goes.
Thank you.
Now you gotta give them a round of applause.
That's awesome. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
More it goes up. Oh, there it goes
Wow.
again. Yay! Wow, it's consistent orange
I haven't seen it
on the K2.
before colors. Yeah.
And over there, it's gotten up to yellow as well. It was 1 over on this one.
How many spirits are here?
Am I right? But it's gone up to 3, up to the orange lights. Or yellow light, and this one is consistent orange now. Yeah, so when he moves it over there, it got back to 1. Yep, back to 1 green light over there. But the closer he gets, it moves up to orange. Oh, there it goes.
Thank you.
Wow.
Wow.
That's 3 colors.
What a show.
Yay! Oh, oh, there it goes.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's what I've been waiting for all night.
Wow.
Can you give us a word? One word.
Did you hear that?
Steven?
What did it sound like to you? Like not through the portal. Did you hear something?
Like that way?
Yeah.
I heard that.
You
I
heard
didn't.
something?
What did it sound like to you?
It sounded like a, I don't know, like a calling someone, or like a,
But did it
like a
sound like a
dog,
kid?
or something. Yeah, like almost yappy.
I didn't hear it.
It was like kids talking, but I don't know.
Yeah, something like higher pitched than an adult
Yeah.
for sure.
Because at first I heard it and I thought it was somebody out there, but I was like, no.
But it came from that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you like an audience? You like us being here?
Yes.
We like being here too.
I want to come back.
Me too.
Don't.
Don't go.
You'll be right here. Oh,
Is that Steven?
yeah, sounds like Steven. Oh, yeah, Steven.
Goodbye.
There's a lot of activity in here. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, there is.
That is nutty. Oh, yeah, it's orange right here.
I've got like the hairs on my arms are standing up.
Chills?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cold here all of a sudden, isn't it? That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm still kind of. It is cold. It's cold. There's no doubt.
My goodness, it's going haywire. Feels cold in here now. Yep, it's going up a little bit to 2.
I got 3.
Yep, I got 3 as well now. The frick? Only. Exit only.
Adios.
Oh, nope, nothing in here. Alright, well, I got a few minutes left. I'm gonna go to the projection room since I didn't look at that yet. Got some lights in here. Oh. Hello? Okay, let's go up to the projection room while we have a couple minutes left. Oh, there's something down at the stage. Someone. Just went off the stage. That's interesting. Oh, wow. A lot of activity. Down at the stage right now. Very interesting. Oh my god. Oh my god. I swear to god. I swear I just saw something walking down there. Yeah.
I just got here. I just came in.
Oh man. Yeah, I did. What the fuck? What? I swear I just saw the shadow man down there. So this is where all the wigs are. It's hot up here. Apparently someone had a heart. Oh, what? Why? Why? Why would someone do that? Why? That is toxic. That is toxic. Okay, this is where all the costumes are. I'm a little shaken up. I'm all shook up. But there's no light going off in here, so it's fine. It's just creepy because there's all the mannequin heads and stuff. Oof, but I definitely feel dizzy and faint. Here's where all the costumes are. Okay, I'm closing this on you. Okay. Yep, no, oh, wait. Madam, close that. Knock first. Nope, 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 nope. Why does that keep pushing open? What the fuck? Okay, well, you know what? I'm just gonna close this door. Y'all can just stay in there. I'm done playing. I'm done. Oh, there it goes again. I swear to God, I saw something like right there. A shadowy figure moving right through the seats. I swear I saw something. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I think with that, I'm ready to leave. It's been real. Yeah, that was terrifying. I'm like seeing stuff out of the corner of my eye now. I'm so shook up. I think I'm ready to get back. I'm ready to get out of here, I think I've had enough. Yeah, I think I'm done. Sugar Papa! Oh man.
A long time ago, but it was great.
Damn, I need to eat more places.
So much cool stuff in Savannah, and it's just so like, I don't know. The whole day was great. I had a lot of fun with everything.
Yeah, definitely can't do everything you want to do in one day.
No way. There's a really, really bad storm coming through tomorrow.
Yeah.
We don't want to, there's like a 20% tornado risk.
Yeah.
And it's heading east. Winter Storm Jerry.
Yeah.
It's
You,
coming.
Jerry.
In Savannah, there's just so much. I mean,
There's so many bodies buried everywhere here.
when you see it and when you're around it, it's so drastic. And there's so much crime in the bad areas. It's one of the highest murder rates in the southeast. I mean,
The scary murder rates.
Yeah.
Oh, and I wanted to mention this. I wasn't recording when she said this. The phrase around here is that the branches have teeth, and apparently that is because there are so
trees
many.
have teeth, yeah.
There are so many people that are buried underneath that the big trees, when they grow up, they like get some bones, specifically teeth were found. 4 teeth are found up with them in the branches. Bones grow up with the roots.
What'll happen is a branch might break and fall, and they cut the branch up and they find teeth inside the branches.
Isn't that crazy?
Smells like horse poop.
Doki doki.
Ice cream. Doki Doki actually is Japanese for heartbeat. But yeah, Savannah really has some wonderful, wonderful culture and history. I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
it's one of the oldest cities in the, it was the first town in Georgia when Georgia was established as a colony. Now I'm gonna go
To sleep?
lay down because I'm tired and cold. There's so much to this place.
Yeah, we'll have to come back.
Savannah
It's worth
has
it.
such a rich history and culture.